Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. And today we are with Suzette Speaks. That's where our insert comes from today. But you know what else is happening today? 600 subscribers, because that's the goal, right? That's definitely happening. Yeah. So what we're looking at today is an excerpt from her channel, Dating versus Courting. What's the difference? Now, let's go ahead and see what we got here. High level conversation. That's what we're looking for. Why? Because the gender war is dumb. Despite whatever you may think or whatever YouTube channels you're watching, we need each other. Men need women, women need men. Let's go.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
as much as I come from a very big family and we take that for granted because
Yep.
I'm like 50-50 on the next generation. They ask me
Right.
what you drinking.
Oh,
You
yeah, this is
drinking
my this is
bubbly?
my bubbly. Yeah, this is my
Yeah, they,
Inania knows what I'm drinking. She called
they
me out
ask
on
you
it,
what you
right?
drinking. But yeah, when I look around, I'm like the most joy I have, the people that I trust the most, the people that I have the best memories with are family. And I think I agree with you. And the media is being undersold or
Mm-hmm.
undersold to our specific population. You don't want
I 100% agree. Again, is one of the reasons why I started this channel is because if we want to talk about rebuilding the community, okay, well, the best way to do that, the easiest way to do that is to promote more nuclear families. But even though that's not what's being sold to us in traditional media. So, it's up to us to change. If we want change in our community, it's up to us to provide that change. We can't expect the outside world to come and do it for us. Because there's a benefit to outside world. Why would they change? Just because we want them to? Life doesn't work like that. Same thing if you want to improve. Well, if you have an image problem, which black people do, if you want the image to change, it's up to us to change it. One of the ways we can do that is through more nuclear families. How do we get more nuclear families? More married people making content so we can start to demystify what actually makes a marriage work. But this is an important conversation today because dating versus courting. So we're going to keep going and let's see where this conversation goes.
no family. You don't want no husband. He's going to
Mm.
drag you down. He's going to do this. And when I look at the people who I know are happiest, it's because they have good families. Their family brings them a lot of joy.
Yes.
So we're seeing there's a trend though that people are not getting married. I'm gonna hopefully find out why. I guess when we drop the link, others can chime in. But let's start talking about what it is, and I that we should be looking for to know
Mm-hmm.
that a man is ready. Let's go there.
Oh,
Because no matter who we are, there comes a point. I mean, there's shows right now on Netflix. I don't know if y'all watching The Ultimatum or if you're watching Bridgerton even. But a lot of shows center around, the courting and when the courting actually becomes real. So, what are some of the signs we need to look for as ladies if we're dating and we want to know if he's really ready for a commitment?
You know what? The best sign is okay. This is going to take a minute for me to explain this because it is complicated. There are let me just jump right in. The best way you can tell is when a guy tells you that yes, at some point in my life I would like to be married. Easiest way you bring that up is through casual conversation. Now the problem is that the problem is dating. Dating is dumb. Now, what's the point of dating? Well, most people, particularly women, will tell you that the point of dating is so we can get to know each other. That's a bunch of BS because we can get to know each other over the phone. Think about that. Phone conversation, we talking to each other. If you want to do FaceTime or whatever, same difference. But the point is that we're learning about each other through communication. The only thing that happens on a date is we want to see how the other person observes in public, in person. And that's more about body language than anything else. But to get to know somebody, no, we can do that over the phone. And that's what I say is a good time to ask these tough questions. If the right person came along, do you see yourself getting married? How long would it take you? I mean, you met this person yesterday. If you met this person a week from now, would you need to know them for 4 or 5 years if they were the right person, would you need to know them 4 or 5 years before you thought about marriage? If the guy's answer is yes, you need to move on because he's not ready to get married. And again, this happens over the course of phone calls. So prime example, you meet a guy, y'all exchange numbers, right? You talk for the next 7 days because in 7 days, ain't nobody trying to go on a date because people are busy, right? You got to work and everything else. Your schedules have to align. But phone conversations don't have to be that long. But if during that time you ask him that question, and he'll let you know right then and there if it's worth pursuing. Personally, the vetting process started because I always knew I was trying to get married. So the vetting process started with me during those phone calls. And if I didn't see it, if I didn't see somebody if I didn't see you as somebody I could potentially be exclusive with, we're not going on any dates. We're not. It really only takes me 2 days to figure that out too. But over the time, we're going to have a lot of phone conversations. And if she's not willing to stick it out and wait around, you need to take me somewhere. No, I don't. We're getting to know each other. I don't go on dates with women I don't know. You call me cheap or whatever, but you're not the one for me. Because if all you're concerned about is where I'm going to take you, see, again, if we eliminate that, well, we got to go on dates to get to know each other. See how that works? That's just the way I am. No, that's me personally. I didn't go on a lot of dates. Dates are from when we're in a relationship and we want to go do something. That's when dating happens. And that's another way of building intimacy between the two of you. But I'm not going on that many dates with a woman that I'm not being exclusive with. But again, because that's me, because I wanted to get married. So,
Well, I think you actually hit the nail on the head with the word that you said. You dropped it, and then you switched the term.
Tell me which one.
It's two very separate ideas behind this: dating versus courting.
Okay.
Dating versus courting. This is so I
Oh
get
yes,
in a
I
lot
said
of trouble.
dating and I said courting.
You
Okay,
did,
so you're
right.
saying there's 2
I'm
different.
glad, but I was actually going to bring that distinction up. I'm
Okay,
glad
go
you
right
said it
ahead.
because you led right into what I was going to discuss. Okay, so dating. I don't advocate dating at all,
Mm.
right? Because dating generally the way culture defines dating, and the way you'll get it in most manosphere content creators, you'll get it in divestors, you'll get it in pretty much anywhere. Dating is perpetual. You're perpetually dating without really any aim in mind. Courting is different in that you both have the same aim. You state it up front. Like my 16-year-old son now has entered into a courtship relationship with a young lady. He's 16, she's 16. They are courting. Their aim is, okay, by the time we're like 20 years old, we need to be married or we need to like part ways. Okay? There needs to be a time frame. Courting is also, specifically if you're a Christian, courting can be done in the context of a local church where you have other people around you that are helping you, older people who are already married who can give you advice. Courting denotes, even in its denotation, denotes that there are other people involved. Dating, on the other hand, is like you're flying solo, generally getting bad advice from people who don't have anything, like they're not married, they don't have.
yeah. Now, I want to point out something interesting that he's talking about, because as far as the church goes, what he's talking about is you're in a closed environment, meaning that the only people that you're interacting with are people of the church. And there are married people within that community who are going to give you guidance to help you down the road. Now, again, what do I preach on this channel? You need more married people making content, because again, outside the church, right? Because there's not that many men in church. So that's a whole nother topic in itself. But with more married people putting out content, it means that there are more examples of how a marriage can work. See, right now it's very narrow minded, and literally most people think it's only 1 or 2 ways to make a marriage work. And if it's anything outside of that, most of the time it's the women saying, "I'm not happy. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to try somebody else." And then it's guys do that too, but it's nowhere near as much. But the point is that when you have more married people making content, you have more examples of how different directions that we can take things, and we can custom fit our marriage to make sure it's working. But again, that's creating an environment to where creating an environment where you can be successful. Is that going to have the same results as you're in a community with a church? An example that he talked about. No, it's not, because that's a smaller group and it's easier to to maintain direct contact with the people who are helping you. I mean, nothing beats real life interactions versus you watching a video on YouTube. You know, it's just not the same there. But you know, the YouTube content is better than what we have now, which is next to nothing, right? So the point is that I also want to mention the fact that when you're talking about a closed environment, right, like a church, this also leads to one of the beliefs I have about a lot of times we undervalue our network, especially when it comes to mate selection. Because again, the people in your network, to some small degree, they want to see you succeed. At least they should, right? So that's why I would say stick to your network. And, you know, generally people will make good recommendations because they know a little bit about you. Now, what is that saying? If, well, my network, they ain't never recommended anybody to me. Then how valuable are you to your network? You might have a different problem there. You know, but that's a whole different issue. Besides, I don't think they're going in that direction, which means we're getting off topic. So let's go ahead and hit play again.
Have anything they have very little to offer you. They're in the same position you're in, both dating, you know, like dating and trying to figure this thing out. But there are people who've gone before us who actually have learned more than we've learned that can give us information. And in a courtship situation, that can be done, right? So that I wanted to hit on that when you pointed it out. I said, okay, so is the man willing to court you? That
versus
would be a good
date you.
Versus
let
date
me pause you real quick and read some of these comments. That's why I was smiling and laughing.
Okay, we're gonna skip ahead because what she's gonna do, she's about to read the chat, so we're not really here for that. Let's see. Oh, why aren't we married? This should be interesting.
We are intentional about both of us being married by this date. Generally, it's like 6 months to a year. It's not this 2 and 3. Like if somebody hasn't decided that they know you well enough to get married to you by 6 months, a year, bounce. Like,
some people living a lie.
So that's a very good point. For me, it's a year because you can see that person in different seasons, right? And some people, it's just, you know, like cold weather can change them, change their attitude. Same thing with summertime heat. People can just be different like that, right? But also, it should be noted that no, it doesn't take years. Generally, what happened in that situation, if both people were talking about marriage and then all of a sudden we've gone into this extended phase of the relationship where we're just, you know, it's stagnant. Most cases, you need to figure out if the guy has not proposed yet, but he was talking about marriage before, but he's not now, something has made him back off. A lot of times what happens is that something happened with the woman and the guy's like, man, I don't know. It's that moment where he puts the proverbial ring back in his pocket and it says, we need to let this play out no more because I'm not sure anymore. Something has happened. Ladies, I hate to tell you this, but most of the time you won't know when he does that either. He's just going to shut up and just not bring it up anymore. And in most cases, depending on what it was that made him put the ring back in his pocket, you know, it's a metaphor, but he might have just taken marriage off the table altogether and he's not going to tell you. So, I mean, in that case, you need to have a time limit and says, okay, this is not going anywhere. I think I'm gonna have to get out, and you will be well within your rights to do so. Because again, ladies, you're on a time clock. You don't have time to waste on this guy, and because if he's not gonna tell you what's wrong, you may never figure it out, and you just wasted all this time with this guy that's not going anywhere. Don't do that. That's bad. Because at the end of the day, that guy will just stick around. Just hang around and hopefully, and what he's thinking in his mind is, yeah, I know I said I was gonna marry her, but I'm not really here for that. So he's gonna stay because it's consistent sex. And for him, most guys in that situation, they think that this might be the best I'm gonna get, so I'm gonna ride this out until she just had enough and can't deal with me anymore and ends it. Now he's never gonna tell you that, but a lot of times that's the way men think. So, you know, instead of just cutting ties and moving on because it's not working, the guys will 100% waste your time. Uncomfortable truth about guys. I mean, I'm just being honest here. So, you know, if That's why I said that you need to ask those marriage questions, how he feels about marriage during that phase when y'all are talking on the phone, getting to know each other. So you don't waste a lot of time with guys who are not interested in getting married. Plain and simple. Guys, if you're not interested in getting married, then stop wasting time with women who want marriage. If you're not serious about it, dude, go deal with the women who say that body count doesn't matter, and I'm strong and independent. I don't need no man. Most of the time, those women are just looking for sex partners anyway. Just go be with them. That's not guaranteed that you're gonna get what you want, but you have a better chance of that than stop bringing up the body counts of women who are actually looking for a husband. We're gonna leave it at that. Let's go.
Or living an untruth that people are pushing
especially
them, and I don't understand 10-year relationships that are not marriages. I don't understand that. And again, not from a place of judgment, but just on a, well, dang, if I'm giving you all of this over 10 years time, why aren't we married? So you're saying a courting relationship is distinct because it, like the conversation up front, as Kimo's saying, involves heavily vetting. I already know who you are. And I'm going to say to myself, or we're going to say out loud together, I really think you could be my wife. I really think you could be my husband. Okay, let's proceed accordingly. So that's when you know you're courting. So a whole bunch of y'all.
That's it.
That's
right there.
A whole bunch of us. Ain't
whole bunch of people wasting each other's time. And ladies, you don't have a lot. That's why guys a lot of time will string you along, because it's not as serious for us, because our time clock is different from ladies. Most cases the guys haven't reached their peak yet, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, that's just the way it goes. But again, that's why the vetting process needs to be built back up in our community, because I've said this before, one of the greatest untapped resources is fathers, in the males, the men of your family that you love and respect. You're not sure about that guy? Introduce him to that family member. Your father being the first choice, because your father's going to be, because before you get married, you're supposed to be under his protection. So he has a valid interest in vetting for you. And if your father's not there, then you go to the next best thing, an uncle or an older male cousin. If you don't have any of those, then your pastor is going to be your best bet. But this whole thing where we just out here dating and I'm going to pick the man myself, that's what we've been doing, and that doesn't work. We need to build up the vetting processes again in our community.
Never been no, just kidding. I've never really been in a courting relationship.
Yeah. Well, most people have it because dating has been the accepted practice for a few generations now.
Yes.
Like before maybe 1950, 1940?
Probably
there was no
even
such
70.
thing
Probably up in the 70s. They started like Jimmy Dean in the 50s started changing that smoked a cigarette and looked tough on top of your Thunderbird look. I think American culture really started to change 50s into the 60s. And then it became, we always have had pockets of 20s, the roaring 20s and things like that.
Right. Serial dating, right, is what people are calling.
But
right?
to become like socially acceptable in like movies.
Right.
Kissing your boyfriend, kissing someone.
Kim O.C., whoever that person is, I think courting involves serious vetting right up front. 100%. That's why I told you guys before about when I was single, I would start vetting a woman right before we go on dates. When we getting to know each other over the phone, I'm vetting right then and there, because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste resources on a woman who I wouldn't see as being fit to marry. Come on now.
On TV, like it was huge into the 60s and 70s. Interesting.
Yeah, I watch a lot of those old television shows, and it
was scandalous for a woman's like
part of her leg to be showing. Yeah, like this is.
So we've culturally become accustomed to dating. Very good point. Andrew adds courting is needed these days. Yes.
Yeah. You see, it's always older people that are saying that.
Yes.
Because they recognize the folly of dating.
Yes.
Because there's
it's a waste of time.
Yeah, it is.
Casual get to know.
Well, that's because they've had the benefit of experience. That's the only thing that is. But again, we need to reintroduce the vetting processes in our community so that we can raise the standard for marriage. Because a lot of the reasons why this might be off topic, but I feel like it's related. It might not be what they're getting ready to talk about, but one of the biggest problems in our community is that we just wait too late to get married. I mean, it's, we pushing marriage till our 30s, and then as soon as you get married, you immediately got to have a child because, high risk pregnancy, right? Okay, but why aren't we getting married sooner? Fear. Again, this is where, because a lot of this stuff is connected. This is where we need more married people making content so people can start to get the ideas of, okay, well, can this work? Yes, it can. Well, look, these are couples are doing this, and that seems to work for them. We don't need to do it exactly like them, but we can modify it enough to fit our lifestyle. And now we have something. But the other thing that's missing is that when we address the vetting issues, well, we can remove some of that fear about women and men picking the wrong guys or gals, right? Because, guys, I'm going to tell you another untapped resource for us when you're vetting a woman is your mom. You're not sure about this woman. She's got you confused, and you can't get past. Introduce her to your mom. Because, again, your mom is not going to be swayed by how fine she is. She don't care how sexy she performs in the bedroom or how, how good she can cook. I mean, if she can cook good, that's a plus. But your mom's not going to care about that. She's gonna judge her own based off you trying to marry my son. Okay, well, what kind of woman are you? Women judge women harsher. Particularly your mother will judge that woman very harshly. And if she stands up, it's one of the ways that you can, again, another tool for vetting. Do you have to agree with your mom on everything? No, I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is that it's another piece of the puzzle that's going to go together.
No use and buys. In my opinion, courting requires you already know the person or at least familiar with them. Very good point, needs watching.
Yes, it is.
With so many online dating, though, you can't court that way.
Then shut the apps off.
Exactly.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. Before apps and before the internet, people married who were close to the people who were close to them
in their town, in their cities.
We have this idea that there's this vast array of people, this smorgasbord of people. I wouldn't be able to talk to you if it weren't for the internet. I wouldn't know who you are.
Right.
I would have married somebody in my local
right where
radius.
I came from. That's very
right where I came from.
Yeah.
And that generally but you could get to know that person because you could know people who also knew that person.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And vetted and knew the families and understood their brought up. See, this is how people used to almost arrange couples back in the day. They understood their family, they understood you, how much money y'all got, how much your mindsets are similar or not. The families would get along, and here we go. Yeah, we have gone into this vast ocean of endless supply of people. It gets crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
You have people with an endless supply of options, but with no self-control. That's that's one of the reasons why. First thing I teach, we're teaching at our classical academy. The first virtue that we're teaching them is temperance, the ability to control your thoughts, your words, and your actions for God's glory. That's how we define it. If you can't temper yourself, you are at the beck and call, the mercy of whatever physical desire you.
See, when I talked about the dime, the first word is discipline, and it's self-discipline. So yes, that man is 100% right. What does this say? Suzette, go out with 3 different people to get to know them. No sex. Then you pick the best lady to line up with what you want in a woman. Then you court that person. I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, whatever forces are acting upon you. You like someone says, with so many dating apps, I don't have a dating app, never had one, don't plan on ever getting one. If something happens to my wife, God forbid, I'm not going on a dating app to find a wife. I'm not going to the internet to find a wife. I'm going to find a wife around here that can help me to continue to. I already told her. I said, you set a high standard. You set a high standard.
To be able to fill them shoes.
To fill them shoes, it's gonna be hard.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna have to find somebody local that can do it.
That's an interesting perspective. When I just look at all my family and most of my mom's generation married, all her cousins are married, everybody married, still married, majority still married. They grew up in a small town in Jamaica, like everybody married in the same village. Like we are cousins on both sides for several people because that family down the street, like you didn't go past 5 miles because you didn't have the luxury of flying here, flying there, and any of that. Very interesting concept, the way the world has changed. Michael adds, Suzette, you go out with 3 different people, get to know them, no sex. Then you pick the best lady that line up with what you want in a woman. In a woman, then you court that person. Very good. I think sometimes people get carried away in that direction.
I like what Michael's saying. I wouldn't.
I don't agree with that. I'm gonna start vetting as soon as get to know 3 people. Okay, well, that's fine. We're going to get to know each other over the phone. Now, I should note that during that time, there is no exclusivity. So if she's dating other guys, that's fine. I don't care because I'm getting to know her. But I may be also getting to know 3 other women at the same time. And I'm just going to pick, just based off phone conversations, who I want to start dating. But again, the vetting process starts as soon as we start talking on the phone.
Advocate getting to know 3 women. I would actually like that. That's like dating towards it. But I guess it depends because you can get to know women outside of like I got to know my wife with no romantic intent. We were just salsa dancing. Like she was my student, and then she became my dance partner. No romantic intent whatsoever. But I got to know her
She was
over
moving
a
them
year
hips,
and a
so
half.
I know them hips don't
Right.
lie. I know them
I mean,
hips.
well, yeah. I mean, she's
Listen,
physically
we be
attractive.
watching
Like
too.
she
We be
got.
like, oh, okay.
I am not saying that I did not see her as physically attractive. What I'm
No,
saying is I got to
of
know
course. No,
her.
you're a man still.
Right.
At the end
I
of
got
the
to
day.
know her
Yes.
without that being the mindset because we weren't dating. We were in the context of a bunch of other people, a group of people that knew us, we knew them, and we were just getting to know each other. It was
In
almost
a
like,
good, clean, non-sexual way.
Yeah.
That's what I think we're getting at here.
Yeah.
UFO Kamikaze says if a guy finds out you're dating multiple men, he instinctively removes you from serious consideration if he's not desperate. Harsh reality. Oh, DL, I missed this. What time is it? It's soundboard time. Let's keep doing you. So I am gonna try.
And DL Saint. That's interesting. I've seen this brother on the Fresh and Fit podcast. It's interesting because their content, I don't necessarily say matches. You know what? Never mind. Let's keep going.
Thank you, DL. Always showing support. He has a fantastic channel building. He had a great show. I listened to this show you did with Last Call for Insight.
I might need to check out DL Saint. I didn't know he had a channel. Let's go ahead and cap this off because we don't need that anymore. But boom, the vetting process. You guys got my thoughts on that. I think that was a great conversation. Go check out Suzette Speaks. She's got running the channel. I don't necessarily say dating is her focus, but it's definitely worth checking out though, because we will be back there because she makes some interesting content, especially from the perspective of just because I know that she's a lawyer. And it's a situation where she wants to get married. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on that process, keeping an eye on the topics that she picks. But anyways, guys, I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.